the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Those are the 5 days that you can read the Megillah. Okay? So I close the Gemara, and I understand that there's 5 days I can read the Megillah, and I go a little bit further in the Gemara, and I understand why those days are what they are. The 14th is when we read the Megillah regular days, and those who are in walled cities from time of Yeshua read it on the 15th. And everyone agrees that the miracle happened on the 13th, and you can read it up to the 11th or 12th day before. And the different ramifications of what and how, and you can look in the Gemara. Open the Shlach Kadosh, and he gives you an unbelievable thing. I told you, on the 11th, you can read it. On the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. The Gemara then says, not more and not less. Don't read now on the 16th and now on the 10th. Only on these 5 days. What are we talking about? The 11th, number 11, is the letters Vav K. Vav and Hey is 11. I told you the last, that's the first day you can read it. What's the last day you can read it? 15th. 15th is Yud K. Yud K, Vav K. Right? You can do another calculator. Do 11th plus the 12th plus the 13th plus the 14th plus the 15th. What's the numerical value of 65? Aleph Dar Nun Yud. How do you see God in this world? I told you, he's either Yud K Vav K, or he's Aleph Dar Nun Yud. Right? How do you respond? How do you respond to the situation? That's Gemara Megillah. But wait, we're not done. The Gemara was telling you more than just regular things. As I tell you, the Gemara never tells you anything just simple. The Gemara says, it calls it a Megillah. We call it Megillat Esther. Why is it called Megillat Esther? Bless you. Because Megillat Esther is the way we live life. The miracle of Purim, actually, we're going to see that it takes place on Adar. What's the month that comes right after Adar? Nisan, right? And that's Pesach and all. Adar is the preparation for Pesach. You see, when we came out of Mitzrayim, right? We saw miracles. And we accepted the Torah. Was that acceptance a true acceptance or a twisting hand acceptance almost? Well, I'm going to prove to you. The Gemara says, Midrash actually says, that we accepted the Torah because Hashem took a mountain and put it on top of our heads and says, if you are not accepting the Torah, I'm crushing you down here. That's not fair. That's not fair. And then in Purim it says, Kimu v'kiblu. Gemara says, Kimu ma shekiblu. They re-accepted the Torah from Ahava. What's going on here? So I'm going to explain to you very quickly. When it says that God put the mountain over their head, He twisted their arm, it may not talking about physically. It may be talking about on an intellectual level. Because they saw so many miracles, could they deny God? You can't deny God. It's as if He put a mountain over your head. You can't deny God. Right? You can't deny it. But when Purim came around, and it worked its way in such a logical flow, in a way that no one realized God was there, and He still showed you that He saved you, there you said God is the one, not because you saw so many miracles, but because of the lack of miracles, you made it part of who you were. Because you walked through life saying, Aleph, Aleph, Aleph. Ein od milvado. There's no one else beside God. But you didn't say that because you were being twisted, because the miracles were happening. You said it because you realized through your own logic that there was nothing behind other than that. That's the difference between the acceptance of the Torah the first time around and the acceptance of the Torah in Adar. in Purim. I told you that he put a mountain over their head. A mountain is called a har. Har. What's the miracle value of a har? Hey and Resh. 205. 205, right? 205. What's the numerical value of Adar? 205. He was hinting to them. Now I'm putting to you a mountain. Now you see it as because it's all miracles. We don't live in miracles. We live in a physical world. We live in a world, it's called Adar. What do you need to do? Mishenichnas Adar. When you're looking for an opportunity to accept Torah. An Adar, a har moment. Marbim besimcha. How do you be marbim besimcha? You insert Alephs. And that's why it's called Megillat Esther. Aleph Seter. You take the Alephs and you put it into what's hidden. Everything that's hidden. What's hidden? Dalet Yud Nun moments. Din moments. Din moments are called din moments. When you have a din moment, you have a din moment in your life. Say, hold on. Who's in charge? Who's pushing the buttons? Who's the one that's creating all this? It's all from Hashem. And that's when you start accepting Hashem, not because of miracles. Don't ask for miracles. Ask for logic. Ask to be pushed in the right direction that you have to say Eino Levado through your logic, your brain. That's why it's imperative for a person studies Gemara. Gemara is all about logic. You're fighting back and forth, not based on Kabbalah, not based on things that you can't see, based on logic.
Yeah, but based on logic, if I'm a really logical person and like something happened, logically I should have said I should have been there earlier, I shouldn't have taken this road.
Is that really logic? That's logic from a lack of understanding.
I agree.
So it's not logic.
But you're turning it into a logical scenario that it was wrong because I misthought.
Right. So, whose logic are you using?
My own.
But what's an Aleph? Whose logic are you using? If you're using Alephs, who are you going to use?
That's outside of it.
No. Whose logic? You're going to use Hashem's logic. That's why the Aleph is constructed the way it is. The Yud, bring down God's logic and make that part of your logic. Because you're right. When a person uses their own logic, they're only seeing with their naked eyes. I told you many times before, there's a name of God, Yud-Kei-Vav-Kei, but I told you we can fill up with Alephs. Let's try filling it up with Yuds. Let's fill it up with Yuds, because we know that Yud is godly wisdom. Let's fill it up. What happens when you fill up everything in your life with godly wisdom? I want to show you what happens. You have Yud is always the Yud. Yud is 20. Yud Vav Dalet. But let's fill the rest of the letters, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey, with Yuds. So Hey in Yud is 15. Vav Yud Vav, right, is 26. Yeah, 26. 22. And Hey in Yud is 15. So 20, 15, 22, and 15. 72? Yep. 72.
Nice.
72 is the milah chesed. Chesed. When God is completely running the world in chesed, it means that it's full of yud. But what does that mean to you? It doesn't mean anything, right? But what's the letter 72? Ayin, bet. Bet enayim. Look with two of your eyes. Not with your eyes, but his type of eyes. How do you look with his type of eyes? How do you look from the perspective of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Only through Torah. If you're not learning Torah, you're not going to be able to see it. There's no trick to it. There's no trick. If a person wants to learn Emunah, there is what's called Emunah Pshuta, and we spoke about this last time, many times before. Emunah Pshuta, that's not a great level. People think that's like a wow level. That's not a great level. It says that when they came out of Mitzrayim, they were from Kotnei Emunah, they were from the small level of Emunah. Because there's a level of Emunah that has to do that you inject heart into it. That's a higher level. That's when you see Chesed. That's Ayin Bet. But if you just say, I believe, but you're not doing any effort, you're not doing any learning of Torah that allows you to see clarity, so you're never going to see clarity. So just saying you believe will never, and again, if a person just says to himself, I believe, he won't believe. It won't seep into his mind. You need ba'asa, you need la-po'al, you need something to come out into action. How do you bring it out into action? When the more you learn Torah, and you have to train yourself, write, again, this is why I give you letters. Because letters, you can remember them quickly. Ayin bet, two eyes. Aleph. Ooh, I know Alephs. So when this situation comes to you, you can't draw back and say, okay, so I'm going to remember that Hashem is the. All you have to say is Aleph. Oh, okay. I'm not looking through my logic, because my logic doesn't work. My logic doesn't work because my logic only sees what I see down here. It doesn't see past. We're probably out of time.
Can you be a selfless egoist?
A selfless? Yeah. That's called Kano Kaneti Hashem. What's Kano Kaneti? It says by Pinchas. Kano Kaneti Hashem. He was jealous for God. So when a person embodies godliness, God becomes a part of him. Like it says by Moshe, that the Shekhinah spoke from Garon Moshe. He spoke from his throat. So Bezrat Hashem, I'll tell you something off the record afterwards, right now. But we'll end with that. Bezrat Hashem, again, that midat hakas, we should move it away. It's that kas that comes only because we think that we're in control. And I want to tell you something. The last point I forgot to tell you. Amalek is so hated. Why is Amalek so hated? Because you should know that all the other nations have a good claim. They don't know any better. But Amalek is his shoresh, his root is actually in what's called da'at. He knows God exists. He knows everything. Like Haman knew all of what we're trying to do. He knew everything, and yet he still defied God. He still went against God. It's that kind of a person. It says there's no tikkun. It's one thing that you don't know, but now that I've given you the information, now you know the information. We know it. Now the next thing that we have to do is just try as hard as we can to put it to practice. That's called Mishenichnas Adar Marbim Besimcha. Why are you all of a sudden Besimcha? Because if a person sees life in that light, he's always going to be laughing. I heard a story from Rabbi Mansour, one of his shiurim. He says, a recent shiurim that he gave, he says that Rav Yaakov Adis would put a towel, set up the towel before he would do Nittat Yadayim. And so before he did Nittat Yadayim, he set up the towel and went to do Kiddush. He comes to do Nittat Yadayim, does Nittat Yadayim, turns around, and no towel. 2 minutes ago, he just put a towel in. So what does he do? He starts laughing. He's laughing. So after he does the motzi, they ask him, what was so funny that you were looking? He says, you don't understand. 2 minutes ago, I put the towel there. Man plans and God laughs. Rabot machshavot belevish b'tzad sheni takum. He says, I put the towels there, and I saw God's hand. Moving. Someone moved the towels. What could he have said? Who moved the towels?
Come on, man.
Who moved the towels? Rabbi Mansour said, first we start investigation. Who moved the towels? Then we start legislation. He says, from now on, no one's moving the towels. And what happened? God said, I moved the towels. I wanted the towels to be moved. If I didn't want the towels to be moved, I want to move the towels. So, how do we destroy Amalek? It's very simple. Now that we know, again, if we don't know, we can't destroy Amalek. Because Amalek comes from knowledge. Amalek comes after you know, let's put into practice. Because remember we said Amalek it severed machshava from the dibur and the ma'aseh. We now learned, we did dibur, we're talking. We have a ma'aseh and we have a machshava. We need to do mahatita shekel. We need to put them together. The name of Hashem is not whole. The Yud K is here and the Vav K is here. The machshava, dibur, ma'aseh not together. So our job now is to put the two of them together, put everything together. If we put what I'm telling you now together, you're going to see kas, it's not kas. Whenever you see the word kas, say mikveh. Oh, remember the mikveh. When a person's in the water, he's naked. There's nothing there. He's just no protection.